How many businesses fail within the first 2 years?
It's like
80%,
90%.
90%.
Yeah.
Not because they didn't have a good idea.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Wedgies podcast. Today we have an awesome guest with us today that we're super excited to talk about. He is one of the co-founders of one of our favorite rangefinder companies, but he's also serves on a very important position, helping raise money with a Little League team that we want to talk about as well. So we've got Jonah Mytro on the podcast today. Jonah, how you doing, man?
Good. Happy to be here. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, no worries. I figured that Little League thing is that the passion project?
It's the 9-year-old son kind of wrote me into Little League baseball. So I know more about baseball than I ever thought I would, especially because I never played it. So if I'm going to help coach, I need to know more than hopefully he does.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I recently joined a men's softball league, and yeah, I mean, I grew up playing baseball till I was like probably 11 or 12, but it has been like a 15-year gap, and I feel like I'm brand new playing the game again. So I'm right there with you.
You know what? There's a lot of similarities to golf and baseball in terms of kind of the swing. I know footwork and position of weight on your feet is different, but um, I'm kind of the unofficial batting coach for the 9U Mambas, which is our local team. So no, we're having fun with it. I got 3 kids, so my 9 and 7-year-old play. My 3-year-old, we'll see what she's going to do, but it's been a fun. This is our 3rd year, I think, playing.
Oh, that's incredible, man. Well, hey, I mean, one thing that we've loved, following you along with your journey here the last little bit. Obviously you're big on LinkedIn, you're posting a lot there and stuff, and it's fun to follow along with you and your family and kind of all the stuff that you're doing. But I'd love to learn more about, you personally and yourself and kind of how you've gotten to this point that you have. What have kind of been the road for you that's led you to your current position out at Precision Pro?
All right. Well, nothing sexy or amazing. I mean, it's basically, you know what? I was out in LA. I had my own marketing company. Randomly met my business partner, Clay, at a bar. We started playing golf and then had this idea of let's make a golf product and sell it and make millions of dollars. That was the idea. So we did it. The products were cool, but not super successful. So we licensed those to Izzo, who handles all the Callaway licensing. So they currently still sell those products as Izzo Callaway branded products.
What were some of those early products?
So it was a hitting mat called a Perfect Pitch Golf Mat, and then a putter cube, which helped you kind of line up your putts, make sure you don't break your arm when you're putting. I products were good, but training aids are a really tough category to be successful in. So that was our kind of how we started the business. And the big pivot was Bush back in 2013. There was 3 competitors selling rangefinders. It was Bushnell, it was Leopold, and it was Nikon and Callaway. They had a partnership, and Bushnell had a patent on rangefinders. That patent expired May 1st of 14. So my idea was, let's launch something the day their patent expires. They can't sue us. They can't shut us down. And then sell thousands of rangefinders. Back then, there was nothing at that $200 price point and below. So 300 and above was kind of the pricing. So we said, hey, we'll come in at $199 and own the market at that price. And we were kind of the first people to do that.
So walk us through the timeline of all this, right? Because even from the first golf products that you guys kind of ideated and created, what time frame were we looking at that? And then also when you guys launched Precision Pro, that was in 2014, I would assume.
Yeah. So October of 2013, we started kind of thinking about it and doing research, finding a factory to manufacture for us. And then we launched kind of April, May of 2014.
An interesting question I have there is you kind of mentioned that, like, hey, there's these big 3 hitters in the rangefinder market. Obviously when you look at like, factories overseas today and all that kind of stuff, like if you want to look at polos, you can get that at, a number of factories because that's such a hot commodity, where there was only a few companies making rangefinders at the time. I mean, what does a process go like looking and finding a partner to be able to start developing those rangefinders, having trusted tech? Like, how do you find the right partner to develop that product?
So back then we used Alibaba. There was probably 5 or 6 that actually manufactured this type of technology back then. Now there's more, but I mean, Alibaba was a place to start because you could see who had experience. There was some type of vetting process there. Um, you definitely, I mean, went through, and there's a lot of trading partners that don't manufacture; they just resell. So it took some time to find the right people, the right factory. I was over there. Um, we definitely did some virtual like meetings and tours to validate that they were legit and I mean they were making the stuff. So that's kind of how we started, and then we kind of knew who the players were. We definitely had some help. There was a couple people in the industry that told us kind of who to reach out to and who to start talking to. Um, so yeah, it was again we had no business plan. All we had was this idea, right? The $200 rangefinder that we could outsell and outwork the big guys. Um,
Wow.
So
so
walk us through the learning curve through that, because obviously, it's easy to have this big bright idea, um, but then even going to Alibaba, like there's tons of sellers on there, tons of manufacturers. There is a lingo there. There's certain jargon that you kind of have to understand. What was that process like for you and your partner?
yeah, so it was definitely a learning curve. I mean, his background is golf. My background was sales and marketing. Um, so the toughest thing was, I mean, in any businesses, you can make anything, but can you sell it? Because if you can't sell it, there's no point. Like you don't have a business. So people have great ideas, but they don't actually the boots on the ground, the calls, the emails. I mean, the cold calls. They're not going to do it, and that's what entrepreneurs really about, right? Who's going to pick up the phone and do the dirty work? Um, and so that was kind of my task, where he handled kind of the operations marketing side of it. But the biggest thing I think we learned is you got to have trusted manufacturing partners. Doesn't matter what it is, because these guys are going to tell you yes to everything you say, but they're going to deliver 50% of what they promise, and they think that's okay. They're going to cut corners to save a few pennies here and there. They won't tell you, but those few pennies or those changes in production or components could affect your products. Um, so we've definitely vetted, partnered. We've moved on from partners because of some of those issues. So it, working with Asian companies can be great, but there's definitely a lot of issues you can run into. Um, but having partners that you can trust that deliver what they say they're going to deliver is key. Because at the end of the day, I can make something, but it's got to be good quality. It's got to work well. Um, they got to deliver the volume that we need. Um, I mean, back then it was a couple hundred, right? 2 to 3, 400 a month. Now we're asking for 4 to 5,000.
Mhm.
Wow. So walk me through kind of those early days then of when you guys were first going. You have this idea. Okay, we're going to go after the big three. We're going to try and enter into this market. We found timing and an excuse to slip in. What does the next phase of that look like? Products, hits your doorstep. What did that go to market? That's selling. How did you guys kind of start to get this out into the industry and get people to start knowing the name of Precision Pro?
So we'd ordered 250 of these units. I think actually I have one right here. So this is the
There it is, the
first unit
product placement.
we ever made.
Wow.
It's called the V400. Our logo's not even on there anymore. So this is kind of proof of concept. Once we developed this, we knew it would sell. Then we actually went to manufacture our own stuff, our own designs, our own molds. Um, so we had 250. They were coming over, probably to land in about 2 weeks. I got on the phone and started cold calling courses, golf shops, friends I knew. We sold out in a week and a half.
Whoa.
Is that
And
just a product of the price point
Or are
initially?
you just like the world's best salesman?
no, honestly, I think it was. I mean, I did the work. There wasn't much competition out there. People dealt with Bushnell and wanted another option. So we were the alternative at a better price point. Um, so it was. I think pricing was key for us, our success early on. Right. We're not the lowest price product anymore. We're actually the second most expensive product in the market.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I actually wanted to talk about because, yeah, initially, right, the thesis was, yeah, we'll come in, kind of undercut the market. But as a lot of business owners know, especially with products like that can only last so long, because again, you have Alibaba out there, you have a bunch of guys that can go do that, and now you have Amazon. So what was kind of the secondary piece to that of, finding kind of another angle?
Price point is how we got started, and people view this as a value brand. Um, as we started seeing, again, prices go up, tariffs came into place, more competition at that lower end price point. We knew we couldn't make a business that was sustainable at that sub 199 price point. There's just not enough money out there. So, example, if you could look on at any major manufacturer that's making $150 to $160 rangefinder, they're not making that much money. I mean, they're making 20, 25 points at most. For them, it's just kind of market share, right? Get that entry level person in. Um, so we slowly, over the span of 5 years, went from 100, 199 to 249 to 269 to 299, um, with the hope that our customers would, again, still kind of pay that same price for something they had bought years ago at $100 lower price point. Um, but we also had to innovate and bring out new things, new technology, kind of new features to support the higher price points. So we've definitely progressed and transitioned. So our entry levels at 229. We go 299, 399. It's kind of our top tier premium product.
What are the features that come along with each of those products?
So kind of the base model is going to get kind of slope, non-slope features, water resistant, 2-3 year warranty, kind of premium case. As you go up to our $300 and $400 price points, you get waterproof. The higher end product has GPS, has Bluetooth, so you can hook it up to our app, um, which will give you front, middle, back. It'll give you wind direction, wind distance, and how that affects the ball. It hooks up to a technology we built called MySlope. So a lot of people play in different areas, different parts of the country, and the way the weather affects their ball and their distance is different.
Interesting.
Right. So if I'm playing in the desert, low humidity, my ball may go 10 to 20% farther.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Right. Versus at sea level, higher humidity, it may go, again, a few percentage points, kind of 5% less. Right.
Hmm.
Weather also plays a big part in it. So we developed this algorithm that says, based on your ball information, what distance should you play it? So it's called MySlope. It's an
That's really
individualized
smart.
slope calculation for each golfer.
That's interesting. Well, you mentioned, kind of, hey, early stages, price point was something that was able to be, a differentiator and something in the market. As that started to go away and you guys were kind of saying like, hey, we need to move into a higher price point and being more of a premium product, what role did building a brand or having strong branding around Precision Pro play in your ability to make that transition?
Oh, I think there's two things. I mean, number one was definitely kind of the branding. So our big thing when we launched was a green faceplate, right? Green and white was kind of our key things. Um, so if you saw our product from 50 yards away, you knew it was ours,
Hmm.
right? Number two is customer service. So we knew Bushnell's customer experience was really bad, whether it was at the retail level or the consumer level. So we wanted to make sure we could provide a better service. You had a bad rangefinder, something wasn't working right. We can't troubleshoot it. We'll get you a new one. right? Instant gratification as consumers is really important,
Yeah,
right? No one
definitely.
wants to wait, right? We want to make sure that if there's an issue, we can resolve it. Because hopefully, what that means is you have a good experience with us or with your pro shop or your club, which in turn is going to be a good relationship with Precision Pro. We all win. So those are kind of two things that we really did, and we continue to push. Right, we've gotten away
Wow.
from some of the green, but the customer service thing is number one priority, especially on the retail front and the direct consumer side.
So what would you say then would be like the number one thing? Like obviously you mentioned that, that kind of experience earlier, but what's kind of the number one thing that you guys kind of keep to like, maintain that customer service as being a thing? What's kind of the main thing that you want to give customers, the way like what interaction you want to have? Like what are you hoping to serve a customer that makes them walk away saying like, oh yeah, that's more than just a company, that's something I could trust or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably three things. One is phones, right? Someone's pick up a phone and call you. So we have our
Yeah,
phone
which is
number.
huge these days.
Yep. I mean, if you think about
That like doesn't exist.
Spirit Airlines and who's the other one? Frontier. You can't call them.
Yeah.
You have to text
Yeah.
them or go on social media. Like, what a
And you're
terrible
probably texting a
experience.
robot.
Yeah. So communication, right? Whether it's email, text, we've worked with live chat. It can be good and bad. But there are some times people just call us and we pick up the phone and they have some weird question that, I mean, we can answer for them. I mean, I've had people call me and say, "Hey, do you sell this product from Bushnell?" Like, no. If you want it, here's their phone number. Call them. Right. Um,
Mhm.
so uh, communication number one. Number two is the warranty, right? Often a
Mm,
really awesome kind of warranty program, battery replacement program. So this is something that no one's ever done. I don't know if anybody will do it. So my idea was 7 years ago, when someone needs a battery for your rangefinder, let's just ship them one, right? Batteries cost us 50
wow.
cents. If you need one, we'll send it to you. You may need a rangefinder every 3 years, but you need a battery every year.
Mhm.
So what's our acquisition cost on that or our marketing expense on that? $15 over 3 years. But you're
Mhm.
emailing me, you're going to our website so you can get a new battery.
Mm,
So we did this thing with a golf website where we said anybody needs a rangefinder battery, we'll ship one out to them. All you have to do is fill out our form, right? You have to do it within these 3 days, and we'll send you a rangefinder battery, whether it's for our product, a Bushnell, a Nikon, doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
oh wow.
Yep, because all the rangefinders take the same type of battery.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which is a battery that you don't use really with anything else. And it's like if you know, you
Not
know, and
readily
when you need it,
available.
you need it. Yeah.
Now, again, it's available at any Walgreens, CVS, like
Sure.
grocery store,
But
but
when you're on T box number
no.
7 and it goes out, you're screwed.
Right, you go to the pro shop, you buy one for $10, so you need one. But
Yeah.
we don't use them. These aren't AA batteries, right? They're specialized CR2 3 volts. Like I compare them to the old camera batteries we used. We had those digital cameras back in the day.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so we did this promotion, and we had over 5,000 people request a battery from us in the span of like 3 days. So
Wow.
right away we're like,
Holy
this
cow.
is awesome, but now we have to ship out 5,000 batteries to these people. Um, I would say it's probably one of the smartest and probably dumbest marketing things we've done. Because basically, I'd have 6 guys just packing and shipping batteries for a week, just get them out the door.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, but no, we still do the battery program. Um, but some of our new stuff is all going to be rechargeable batteries. So standard USB-C charging port, battery lasts for a year if you use it every week. Um,
Wow.
so
No, that's incredible. Well, as we talk more about brand and kind of the opportunity and the benefit that brand has for you guys specifically, one of the things you guys have been doing really, really well recently is partnering with groups that also have strong brands, strong opportunities, whether it's the Good Goods, John Daly. I remember there being a random golf club one not too long
yep.
ago as well, and like those kind of different relationships. What talk me through what the benefit to you guys and what your group is in finding those partnerships, and how do you find a partnership like that leads somebody like a John Daly, a legend in the game, or somebody who's like as big as Good, to actually be bought in, invested. We were just chatting before this call, but John Daly's got a video on his own with Bryson DeChambeau, and he's pulling out his rangefinder to show it to him. Like,
Yeah.
how do you get that kind of buy-in from those partners instead of them just being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna slap my logo on this, they can pay me $20 and I'll walk away?
Listen, at the end of the day, it comes down to money, right? I mean, partners want money, and in return, you get the assets of content. What's it, video, podcast, name and likeness. So any partnership, it comes down to that. Now, they're all structured differently. So our first partnership was 2017 with No Lane Up. So very similar to us. They started in 2014 with this idea, no really business plan. And I think we were probably one of the first companies to see the value in partnering with these guys because they had a robust following of golfers. Um, they had their podcast, they did their YouTube stuff, they did their tour sauce where they travel around and kind of film it. Um, and they would drive traffic to our site. So they didn't sell it, but they would talk about it. Hey, go to Precision Pro Golf, put this code in, you can get this discount, or this is a new product they have coming out. So it was a great voice and audience we could tap into. And that was really successful. So once we saw that, we met RGC and started working with them. That was a little bit different because he wanted to make his own rangefinder. So we were actually able to make one for him. They sold it on their website. We sold it on our website. He used it in all his videos. So another great partnership with them. And then as we progress into kind of COVID, post-COVID years, Good is a group that I personally never followed. I think I'm a little bit over their age demo. But a lot of my guys on my team would say, hey, you got to look at these good guys.
Yeah,
Um, huge
can't
following.
deny that audience.
No, I mean, it's huge following. And they definitely come from a different walks of life in terms of experiences and golfing abilities. At the end of the day, we're all golfers, right? Whether we're good or bad
Right.
at golf, like I want to reach any golfer I can um, to use one of our products. So that partnership is again structured a little bit differently since they do video, they do um, content, they have the YouTube,
A
they
lot
do
of
their
opportunities.
podcast. They also buy products from us that they sell on their site. We're able to sell stuff through our site through retail partners. Um, and then the John Daly thing, that was an interesting one. So we've always talked about bringing on a PGA Pro, but the cost to do that is through the roof for some of these
Hefty.
guys.
Hefty.
So I remember talking to who was it? Um, I can't remember the guy. One, it was a PGA Pro. He was like a top 50 guy, and I asked for his hat for the year, $800,000.
Oh my God.
Ooh.
I went to Tony Finau and said, "Hey, I want to be a name and likeness and get something on your shirt, $1 million." I'm like, it doesn't work. It doesn't make sense, right? So we made a rangefinder for Daly and his son um, during the 2020 or 2021 PNC event that they do down in Florida. He loved the product. He reached out to me a few months later and said, "Hey, I want to partner with you guys and promote your rangefinders. Let's build a rangefinder um, with my name and likeness on it, and just kind of create a partnership." So that was a unique one, and that's been really successful because he has so many connections within golf, not just with
Totally.
courses but players. We're able to kind of work with his charity um, that he runs. Um, he's hooked us up with a ton of connections in terms of just people in the space, his existing partners he works with. So that's a partnership going on almost 2.5 years now. And the cool thing about that is that I don't reach out to his manager. I just text him.
Oh, awesome.
And he
Well, I
just
was going to ask, what is it like to work with a guy like John, right? Like he has this incredible reputation for good or for bad, but as a person, I've only ever heard that he's an amazing guy. What is it like to work with him?
so I probably talked to him for 6 months before I actually physically met him in person. And easy to work with. I mean, his biggest thing is he wants to work with good people that he trusts, right? He's been screwed over so many times by bad partners and bad business people. Um, and he's like, I just want to work with good people. I don't need to work with everybody. Um, so he invited me down to Tennessee for an event with him and Kid Rock at one of his charity events. So that was the first time I met him. Um, the nicest guy will take time with you for any reason. We'll get pictures with everybody, non pretentious. I think he's got the same mentality he did before he became, I mean, like the breakout star, right? The guy you see on that 30 for 30 episode with him on ESPN, that's, I mean, that's the type of guy he is. You just sit down, have a beer,
Yeah.
you talk like, um, he just, he's enjoying what he's doing. He enjoys golf, enjoys life, and just surrounds himself with kind of good people. So
No, that's awesome.
it was a cool experience. I he actually came out to Cincinnati and did a he plays guitar and has a band, and he invited my team out, and they said they had probably the coolest experience from a celebrity that they would expect. Right, he was hanging
Wow.
out with them, introducing them to people, got them backstage, like just anything you have heard um, is probably true. He drinks too much. His beer's way too long. Um, Probably needs to eat better, but just an awesome dude, right? And it's so. But my goal is that he gets his golf game back in tune
Oh
and
yeah,
starts competing
definitely.
on the Champions Tour because that could be really cool for him personally.
It
Yeah,
would be
it'd be fun
awesome.
to watch.
But no, that's probably the funnest because I can kind of talk about like we have this celebrity, everybody knows who he is, right? And he's out there promoting our product, just like that video you talked about with Bryson, right? He gave Bryson one of our rangefinders. We didn't ask, he just did it.
Yeah.
Um,
No, and that's huge. Well, I guess my question for you, Jonah, is like as you look back over kind of the years of, doing this, starting this company and getting involved in the industry, having, no business plan and just more of an idea, what's kind of the number one lesson that you've learned that you could kind of like, if someone else was like, hey, I want to start a golf company or hey, I want to be involved in the industry or something, like what's kind of the biggest piece of advice or learning that you've had throughout your career so far?
if you want to start a golf company, what do you do? Try to do something different. I mean, everybody, everybody is replicating or ripping each other off right now.
Yeah,
And whether that's good or bad, I mean, Bad Birdie came out and there's 15, 20 competitors doing the same thing.
Hmm.
totally.
How do you differentiate yourself? Because they're probably making the stuff in a very similar factory, if not the same factory, right? So I think differentiation is number one. Find a product that's different, that's unique. Um, you're gonna have competition in any industry. Um, Number two is hustle, right? You got to go out and hustle. And whether that's digital, whether that's boots on the ground, whether it's going to events, cold calls, like no one's successful. No one's going to come to you, especially early on. No one knows who you are. No one cares who you are. Now we're at the luxury 10 years down the road where we are getting calls and emails every day about stuff,
Totally.
um, which is pretty awesome. I think one of the coolest I got was from the Knicks. They want to do a custom
It wasn't the
rangefinder.
email to do this podcast. That wasn't the coolest one you got.
It's up there, but not top of the list. Now,
Okay. Sorry.
but
New York
no,
Knicks, wedge golf. I get it. We're neck and neck. I get it.
listen. When the Knicks call you, and so I saw a number from Madison Square Garden. I'm like, this is weird. what are they trying to sell me tickets? Um, and they want to do a custom rangefinder for the Rangers and the Knicks. I was like, this is
That's
pretty
really
cool.
cool.
Like, we've
Yeah.
made it.
Yeah.
And the other was PXG, right? We're their official rangefinder.
Oh,
That's
Um,
super
cool.
cool.
and that's been a great partnership that we've had. So, all right, words of advice: don't give up. Um, try to do something unique and different. Don't spend the money unless it's going to drive sales. Uh, I met with I had two guys come to me 2 years ago at the PGA show, and they showed me this product they made. And I said, "Oh, how much have you invested in it?" They said $50,000 in the mold. I said, "How many have you sold?"
Wow.
They're like, "None." I'm like, "What's it selling for?" They're $50. Now it's a cool product,
Whoa.
but this product you could buy for $3 and do the same
Yeah.
thing with it. So they dropped
Dang.
Wow.
50 grand before they even validated the market or the pricing.
Hmm.
Um,
That's
and
tough.
I was pretty brutally honest with them, like, guys, like, you wasted 50 grand, right? You don't have to spend the money to mold something. Create a prototype, get out there and just sell it. Our first product we made, the putter cube, we had them 3D printed for $5 a piece. We hand packaged them, went out and sold them for $25 a piece, right? And we would do 100 at a time. We validated the market. Once we did that, then we went over to China, made a mold, spent the money, got our pricing down to like 25 cents per unit. But a lot of people, I mean, whatever they do, they come out of the gates saying, "Hey, we're gonna sell the crap out of these things, right? And we're gonna be successful from the start." You're not, right? It's just the nature of business, right? How many businesses fail within the first 2 years?
It's like
80%,
90%.
90%.
Yeah.
Not because they didn't have a good idea, but
Round of money.
it could be money. It could be um,
Product market fit.
product market fit. Could be the sales part of it. Um, yeah, there is. This is the fourth company that I've kind of run and been part of. Um, this has been the most successful. Um, but all of them, again, that first year is the toughest year, right? After year one, if you can get through year one and really focus on what you're doing and focus on um, what you're selling, who your customers are, you can be successful, right? You can make it work. I think 80% is effort, 20% is luck. So,
Yeah. No, I think that's super true. And the tried and true principles of entrepreneurship really do span across all industries and all kind of verticals. So it's cool to hear you chat about that, right? Prototypes and failing fast, failing cheap if it's going to fail at all. Um, but kind of last question I had for you, just as we've talked about obviously your guys' journey from start to where you are now, the cool partnerships you've been able to do, the cool people you've been able to get in touch with. What are, if you can share, some of the things that Precision Pro has on its horizon in the coming future?
yeah, I mean, the Titan Elite are two new products we launched. And again, the goal there is, I mean, make an awesome product, um, give the golfer every kind of function, feature they would want in a product. I really support that product with a great warranty. Um, so those are two new products we're launching. We got a few new products for 2025 that are coming out. Um, and then we have a couple new product category launches that we're looking at for
Oh, cool.
2025. So I can't get into detail about those now,
Yeah.
but revolve around the technology side and golf. And our big mantra when we started was, I was a golfer. I think I was a 15 back then. My partner was a scratch golfer. Make products we would use as golfers ourselves,
Mm,
right?
smart.
We're the consumer, right? Who we're trying to sell to. So let's make sure we make something that we would buy. And
Hmm.
whether that it was a training aid that we came up with or a rangefinder, um, stick within those principles.
Yeah.
So we try to do the same thing now. we're not going to launch something if we don't think it's going to be a viable opportunity or a viable product that golfers are going to want. Right? You see a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff out there right now that, yeah, it's kind of cool, but do golfers really want it? Right? Um, Good example: Game Golf and Arcos. You may not remember Game Golf, right? They were the first ones to do it. Arcos came and made it better, and the whole game tracking has evolved. And I don't even know if Game Golf's around anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another one I can think of is the golf board. You guys remember that?
Huh.
So it was a skateboard with a handle that you put your golf clubs on,
Oh,
and you'd ride
I
around the
do
golf
remember this.
course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They
Um,
have them at a local course around us.
and I'm guessing they're probably still in the cart barn, filled with dust because nobody uses them. Like I said, cool product, but no one really used them and wanted them, and the pricing was out of whack. Um, so yeah, hope that answers your question there.
No, totally. And we're excited to see kind of what you guys have on the horizon and what Precision Pro's pumping out and kind of what the next stage looks like. I mean, I can tell you one thing for sure. Like, you got two solid product testers or customers here. We love what you guys have put out and stuff, and had been rocking the Precision Pro stuff since the RGC stuff came out way back when. So you guys have been doing an awesome job, and it was an awesome chance to talk to you. I think hopefully we can kind of have another chat here in the next year as a lot of these new products come out, and I'd love to hear the story of their inception, how they came out, and then most importantly, how the little league team's doing. Make sure we catch up, see who's winning games, who's hitting the dingers, all that kind of stuff. So we appreciate you giving us the time today.
No, listen, guys, I appreciate it. Listen, spring training, or we call it fall ball, starts up in 2 weeks.
Nice.
So, but it'll be busy between that and golf and all the other kind of outings I have to go to. But no, it's been awesome, guys. I appreciate it, and awesome kind of talking and connecting with you guys.
Awesome.
Likewise.
Definitely. We'll be in touch, and yeah, like I said, we'll do a follow-up pod as all that awesome Precision Pro stuff keeps coming out in the next few years.
Cool. All right, guys.
Awesome.